video camera off. If you do want to ask any questions, you can ask it here in the chat box, which I will prompt you now. Questions over here. If you ever need to know where to put a question, we will catch it. There are people in the background here, myself included, who will be able to catch the questions and ask Michelle Matthijssen. This session will be recorded and uploaded on YouTube later and also on our website. So feel free to hop off if you need to and then come back to the recording. So yes, please keep your camera and microphone off and then wait till the end for questions if you need to. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Michelle Matthijssen, our wonderful coordinator here at the Career Development Center, and she will be the one taking you through everything you need to know to be an interview star. So take it away, Michelle Matthijssen.
Thank you very much, Leanna, for that very warm welcome. It's great to be back with all of you. If you've come to any of our other webinars, welcome back. If this is your first webinar, please feel free to check out the YouTube channel on our actually kpu.ca /career day. All the webinars are in there that we've had. So this is the last of our series for the career day that we had last week. That was a huge success. A little bit about this webinar. There is a ton of information. If we were in person, I would have handouts for you. So I have broken the cardinal rule of too much information on slides because I need to get this information to you. So feel free to take screenshots with your phone, with your on your laptop, however you're watching this, or visit the recording again later. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen because there's a lot of information. I will pause for questions as we go through. Leanna, feel free to stop me if there's a bunch of questions and you feel that we need to stop and answer some questions, or we can get them at the end. We can fill them in there as well. Okay, so let me run that. And where is my detail? PowerPoint. Slideshow. Start. There we go. Okay. Oh, sorry, I hate when that happens. I'd like to see the... Oh, well, here we go. Okay, how to be an interview star, brought to you by the Career Development Center. I am Michelle Matthijssen, Coordinator, Career Development Services at the Career Development Center. So career services, just a once over, we have the KPU's main job board. So if you are not signed up there yet, Career Connection, you look for the little logo there that says Career Connection, click on it, sign up with your student number and the same password that you sign up when you log in to pick classes, etc. Resume review, upload your resume to resume at email account, send me your resume and I will give you some feedback on it. Please give me some time right now. We're short of staff, so it's taking me a little bit longer than advertised on the website. Employers on campus, virtual now, career day's over, so in April we'll be inviting employers, so watch our website, web pages for the employers on campus that you can come and see and talk to and find out what they're offering. Are they, if they got looking for grads for some training systems, are they opening for jobs, careers, etc. Webinars like this one. And you can also book appointments with myself right now, and we are in the midst of hiring a career coach to go over career exploration, mock interviews, and your personal job search. So through this workshop, we're going to go over what is an interview scenarios, how to prepare, create a positive first impression, control the content, and the ever important follow-up. Okay, interview skills. Let's get in the mindset of interviewing. You've gone and talked to these employers, and now that you've got the call. So what? Try and reflect back on an interview that you've gone to in the past. What was it like? What worked? What bombed? You know, you want to stay away from that. Don't focus on it. Focus on how you want to fix that part. What would you do differently? What are some of the fears that you're dealing with right now? Write them out, and I'm going to teach you how to prepare and get over that those those fears, etc. So in the mindset, what is an interview? It's a meeting of 2 or more people, face-to-face or virtual now. And just a sorry, squirrel moment here, that some of this information, this webinar was originally an in-person thing, so it's been tweaked a little bit for Zoom and Teams and being in a virtual platform. So kind of, if I missed something, either ask the question how to do it virtually, or let's just in your mindset do that that change over to the virtual side of this. So it's a meeting between 2 or more people, virtually or in person, for the purpose of obtaining information to the aptitude, skills, and fit within the company. Okay, it's not usually a dialogue. It's usually a dialogue, not an interrogation. There's communication. It goes both ways. There's questions going both ways after that first nervousness. Yeah, you're just having a great conversation. Okay. They are looking to assess your qualifications, your interest, your passion, and the fit within the company. How is that, how are you going to mix with the team? If, the employer's already spent a lot of time working with his team to make sure that I'm rolling smoothly here, that they fit well, and they want to add another person into that team that is going to keep everything rolling along smoothly. Okay. You yourself are communicating your qualifications and also seeing if this job is a fit for you. Are their values, are their mission statements, do they jive with your life and your morals and values? Okay, so it's also, you want to make sure that that's a good fit on your side as well. So, scenarios. So there is the single interview. I'm going to try and stop saying so all the way. Single interview. The traditional interview are one-on-one. The one person asks questions and then you ask your questions. It's the basic traditional one. Then there's the serial interview. So it usually starts with a phone call to you. They want to save time, basically. It's a phone call going, why did you apply? What's your interest? And clarifying to them that you applied for a specific reason. You saw a match. This is something you've always dreamt of doing. And imparting that so that they will take that back to the team and invite you to an interview. So it's a phone screening. It's usually quick, 15-20 minutes, a few questions, but really just letting them know that you didn't just throw this interview out into the universe to see if it stuck to the wall, that kind of thing, that there was a premeditated arrangement of your resume and your cover letter and applying for this position because you see yourself working for them. Okay. Panel interview. More than one person. There can be other internal stakeholders that you would, in your job, like KPU, if we were applying for somebody within career services, you can be working with co-op and employer relations. You could be working with faculties. So they may call in people from other areas to give some input of working with this person. And then there's the group interview. You are with other candidates at an interview. That happens a lot. I see it a lot with the accounting students, where there might be a speed dating. You're at a table with one representative and 2 or 3 of your peers, from your student peers, classmates, that would be in this interview. So that's some different types of scenarios that you may find yourself in. Also accounting, they'll take through a recruit ceremony, through a recruit scenario, you may find yourself out at a kind of a I'm tripping over this because it's Zoom. Back in the past, you would find yourself out at a wine and cheese with many people around, kind of just seeing how you hold yourself in a cocktail type fashion. So that can also happen pre-post. I'm not going to try and trip over my words because of COVID right now, because it's not going to be here forever. Right now, you may not be doing it, but you may be on the other side of a group interview because the company's hired you. Now you're hiring somebody else. So just knowing about those scenarios. Okay, key number 1, preparation. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this because this is going to help you the most in your own mental health, and also stroke the ego of the employer as well as impress them. So, preparation. So you as a student spend in excess of 4,000 hours studying and attending class to prepare for your career, the thing that you dreamt about doing or that you think about doing. It may change, but this is what where you've started to go. But most students or interviewees spend less than an hour preparing for this job. You've got all these skills, etc., but you only spend the hour researching the company that you want to go apply to. So few job seekers prepare for interviews. Those that do, you will gain an edge over the other person who doesn't prepare. You almost want to hope that they don't. They don't want to wish bad on anybody, but the more you prepare, it's going to raise you above another person. I have two on this one. So the secret to success, webinar over, is prepare. No, I'm kidding. There's lots more to do, but it is in the preparation. So let's get down to details here. Benefits. First of all, reduces your own anxiety, your nervousness, you're talking too much or missing really important information that you wanted to tell the employer that because you didn't prepare or have your stories written out that you don't have with you. Makes you appear more confident and professional. You're strategic with the information you provide. You're not doubling up on stories, which quite often happens. An interviewee will always pick one past job that they pull their examples from when they could have attached themselves to a lot of other examples that would put a better light in the to reflect the questions and the information they wanted to provide. Impress the interview with your initiative, that you actually did the forethought. You didn't just show up and I'm going to wing this and pull the proverbial rabbit out of my hat. No, you actually took the initiative to research the industry, the job, the people, and you go forward. You can get down to the real business rather than kind of doing this surface interview. Let's get down and see if this is really a good match, and you can drive it home where you're going to. I'm sure you can think of some other examples of how this would benefit you personally. It's a bit subjective there. Okay, you've got the invitation to the interview, you got the phone call. While you're on the phone, I like to clarify, I can let the interviewer know I am in an active job search right now, and I have put out resumes and cover letters to several businesses. Could you just, and maybe even you've applied to different jobs within one company. Could you please just clarify for me which job you're calling about? Because I know that I've saved all this information in a folder with the job ad, my resume, my cover letter, because it's all different compared to which job that I'm applying to. So I can go back to that folder afterwards and really prepare for this. You can ask who is interviewing you. Will it just be you and I, or will others be joining us? Great. Could you share their names with me? I'd like to look them up on LinkedIn. It's okay to be doing that. It's not creepy. That's what LinkedIn is for networking and researching. We all do it. It's okay. Get some directions. So again, post-COVID and during COVID, will they be sending you a Zoom link or a Teams link? Do you need to download that information or the links ahead of time? Prepare your backgrounds, what backgrounds you're going to use. If it is in person, because there are in-person interviews going on, where are you going to park? Are you taking a SkyTrain? When do they run? Where do you go? Who do you ask for? Etc. That thing. So you want to know where you're going. And if you are going somewhere in person, I suggest doing it the day before. Walk where you're going to park. They take coins or credit card to pay for that. You don't want to have any surprises when you get there that you don't have any coins because it's not a credit card or even a phone-in app to pay for your parking. So walking ahead of time, again, you know where you're going, what's going on. Maybe there's some traffic you've given yourself lots of time, but there's extra traffic and now you're rushed to find out where is the parking lot around there, where's the bus stop, I have to walk 3 blocks back. Okay, and clarify your email address with them if they have to send you a Zoom link. Okay, that's kind of the directions area. The interview process itself you can ask about. Are there going to be anything like an aptitude test? If you're going into banking, quite often there's an aptitude test. What is the brand name of the aptitude test? So you can do a little research about it. You're not going to find the questions online. I haven't been able to find any aptitude questions online, but what are the names of those? Do you have to prepare a presentation? And be very careful. If the presentation says between 5 and 7 minutes, keep it between 5 and 7 minutes. If it's 10 minutes, you could be docked. They will talk about that going, well, he was over time. We asked for 5 to 7 minutes. It is not in your best interest to be too short or too long. You want to keep it right in that 5 to 7 minutes and make sure you stay on topic. Go back and read the question a few times. Did they just ask for this module to be covered, or are they looking for a whole overview? Okay, excuse me, a lot of talking. Okay, how are we doing so far? Any questions out there?
We're good.
Awesome. Okay, more preparation. So analyze the job description over and over and over again, and just make sure that you're very clear on what they're looking for. Identifying the employer's needs, if you think of that as the question and you are the answer to their question, make sure that you are researching and listing your experiences and achievements that match that question. Okay, so if they're looking for, an HR person that, covers payroll, then, even though working at McDonald's is really great customer service skills and time management skills, etc., make sure that you have some other experience that answers that HR thing. It's not that it's a bad thing, it's just not relevant and not a match. Okay, I seem to have a lot of hand movements going today because I can't see you. Anyway, so go over that. Make sure that you're very clear. The other thing on going over a job description, what I like to see is which ones are the nice to have skills and which ones are the have to have skills. And if my have to have skill is been through my education, then I wanted to be prepared to answer the question about, because they're already interested, they phoned. I want to be prepared to answer the question of how is that transferable into, or how would I in a specific, what's the word I'm looking for, a specific detail, use this skill to transform into that duty. Okay, and prepare that. This is how I would do this. If I was faced with this issue, for lack of a better word, I can take from this pot of information to fix that. And that's what I want to prepare ahead of time, because I know I don't have it. You can address the elephant in the room, but this is how I'm going to go about it. Right. Okay. More preparation. So employers may also test your knowledge through their questions about what you know. So why, what do you think it takes to be successful? Why do you want to work in this industry? And my big one for career services, if I'm interviewing you to work at career services, I'll ask you what you know about the career development services. And 9 times out of 10, I'll tell you, I hear about co-op. And we are part of the big team and the big career development services and student services and all the way up KPU. But I asked you, what do you know about career development services? So I would really expect that you went to our website and find out what we do. Okay, it's a pet peeve to employers. I know what co-op does there, but I know that you didn't prepare for my interview. So then it becomes, well, am I wasting my time? Okay, so you really got to know why you're there. Know your why. That's so important these days. Everybody seems to be, know your why. Okay, so you need to, I talked about this in another webinar, research the whole industry, then the company and the job and the interviewers, the people doing the job, really know the whole the layers of the onion, if you've seen that analogy before. When you look at a company website, look at all of the pages, not just the main website and scroll down that, but go in and look at the depth for their missions, their value statement. That's going to really impress them if you can bring that up at the interview. Do a Google search or a LinkedIn search on the company and the interviewers. Get others some information. I love when I find somebody's a KPU alumni and I can draw in on that and maybe bring up teachers or that you've shared. Make sure that you know the typical duties and the responsibilities. Maybe a salary range. If they ask you in the interview, how much do you think you should be paid, or they come back with that, if you know, and was it Glassdoor does this one, they'll give you a range of a person in that position of what they're getting paid. And you can answer something with, well, I know that somebody doing this particular job usually gets paid between this and this. I'm willing to negotiate that amount based on my experience. They haven't nailed you down to a specific amount, but you've given a good range and you know what your going rate is, what you're worth. It's also good to know employers' competitors, accounting firms. You've got your big five. They work pretty close together, but know who the competitors are out there. Electronics, you've got Hewlett Electric, you've got, and even if you're working, like I say, even I bring up trades right now, and I'm thinking you may be doing IT or HR or payroll within electronics, but you still know who the competitors are. Westburn, CES, that's City Electric, E.B. Horsman, they're all competitors. They're all friendly competitors, but you just know who's out there and what's going on. Maybe it brings up a question that of how the industry is changing and going into new areas. So good thing to know. Employers are looking to answer 4 questions when you go into an interview. And these I've specifically put in rank order. Do you possess the passion and the work ethic that the employer expects? Are you going to show up on time? If you got there, you're going to play nice in the team? Do you fit into the organization? And then last, I have the skills and abilities. I can tweak your skills and abilities. I can teach you things, but if you don't have the personality to mix with my team, then it becomes toxic, and I'm worse off than being short-staffed. Okay, so let's prepare some common answers to interview questions. So I just the internet is full of questions and answers for you to prepare, or ideas for you to formulate your own questions. There's education questions, work experience questions, job-related questions, and personality qualities. So feel free to search the internet. Come see me if you want some practice on some specific answers, but the world is your oyster as Google is concerned with these questions. The one thing I do want to go over is the next page. All right, so I take a sip of water here. Is behavioral-based interview questions. So knowing what kinds of questions might be asking and having a few different examples that you want to have in your back pocket in your arsenal of answers, because they might be phrased a little bit different so that you can answer them smartly. So the most accurate predictor of a future performance, what you're going to do in the future, is how you handled it in the past. And it's okay to have an example that bombed. I had an example of something, it didn't work, and this is what I learned. So going forward, I know that I need to do this, this, and this. That is so smart to an employer, that you bombed and you learned from it, because not everybody is perfect. You're human, and we want to hire humans. The interview also identifies, your job-related experiences, behaviors, knowledge, skills. Like, what did you do when you were on the spot? How did you handle that? And then some questions on that. So here's some examples. Tell me about a time that you had a conflict with a coworker. Very popular question. What did you do? Okay, did you go running straight to your boss, or did you try and work it out with your coworker first? time that you had an exceptional customer service, and that could be internally or you were out at a restaurant somewhere. Maybe something, I think of IKEA when I look at this last one, you didn't have everything you needed to complete that IKEA chair. So you're missing parts, so what do? Phone IKEA, bundle it back up, take it back to IKEA and replace it for a new one. Just some examples of how you handled that situation. Still on preparation, rehearse. Just as I rehearsed this webinar last night, a couple of times before, I went over it again this morning, rehearsing your responses and practicing what you want to say, again, helps with anxiety, improves your interview skills, and you get some important feedback. My cat doesn't, or my dogs don't give me feedback, but if I find they're going to sleep and getting bored, then maybe I need to zing it up a little bit. Practice, practice, practice. Mock interviews, videotape yourself again. Book an appointment with me if you can get in before the interview. If not, send me an email. I can sometimes slide extra appointments in. Rehearse loud in front of the mirror. Phones have recorded. You can record memos on there. Record yourself answering questions. And get some feedback from people and say, what do you think about this? Maybe you're not doing it live with them. Maybe you show them the recording and say, is there something I'm missing here? What do you think of this? So sometimes our friends are our best critiquers. Aha, key 2, to create a positive first impression. So some studies say it takes 3 seconds. I try and remind myself when I go into an interview to wait to that 4 minutes. People are really nervous on those first few minutes. I was nervous on my first few slides here today, but now I'm starting to get into the role and relax a little bit, that I can flow with things a little bit more easily. Still not all my words are coming to me, but they'll come. That's common. So I try and wait for that 4 minutes. But in those first 3 seconds before you've opened your mouth and said thank you for giving me the chance to interview for this position, there's been that once over, and it's just programmed. Unfortunately, it's not great, but it's been a program that we kind of take a once over the person and get a feel, trust our intuition about a person. Looking at this guy. He's closed off, his arms are crossed, he's kind of got a scowl on his face. I would be a little bit nervous going into an interview with this guy, or vice versa, interviewing this guy. Secondly, a little bit, a nice smile, gentle makeup, hair's done. She's, covering her portfolio. I'm going to come back to portfolio, so look at that portfolio that she's holding right there going into an interview, but very presentable, nice smile. Coming forward. This would be somebody I think I would really enjoy interviewing. So creating a positive first impression, arrive early. Not too early, 5 minutes is great. If you're too early, then it almost flips back on you as well. You're keener and you just want to be that 5 minutes. If you come too early, they got to know what to do with you. So especially in person. If you're late, there's no reason that you should be late. If you walked it the day before, or you've got you've tried your Teams or your Zoom the day before, there is going to be technical difficulties. Hopefully not too often. Excuse me. But if you had a really great excuse, fine. But try to be in that 5 minute early window. Dress for success, your appropriate attire. You've done the research on the industry. You should know what people are wearing these days. Is this an accounting firm that wears ties and collared shirts and business suits? Is this a lawyer's firm that's very has an outward appearance at a very professional level? If you are underdressed, the employer could think that you really don't care enough about the job to spend the time on your first impression. Take a picture of this if you want. There's a lot of information on here. So it's basically make sure that you are dressed for the job that you're trying to get. Shirt with a blouse, a collar, shirt with a collar or blouse. Make sure you're well groomed. If you're going in person, easy, no scent, no perfume or cologne at all, no chewing gum, coffee cups, no. If you're taking a water bottle because you're talking a lot, you might get a frog in your throat or dry throat, then take a water bottle that has a lid or a snap lid that you can, because you're nervous. If you hit it and it knocks over, I probably put a thought in your head now that you never thought about. But if you knock it over and there's, at least it's water, not coffee on everything, but if it has a lid, then it'll hopefully save you. Just tone down everything that you kind of weren't born with. Not too much makeup. If you have it after 5 o'clock shadow, that's fine. Just trim it up. Make sure it's good, and just take a look at yourself in the mirror, front and back, so you haven't got toilet paper attached as you're walking out the door. That kind of idea. I don't know if you've ever seen somebody come out of the washroom at a restaurant with toilet paper out of their sock or something. But it's just that, taking that look first, front and back, and making sure that you're dressed to a T. Okay, be friendly to everyone. Receptionists and men people
Michelle?
Yes.
We have a question about being dressed.
Yes.
Is it possible to be overdressed?
I would rather err on being overdressed than underdressed. Yes, you can, but it's not going to be a bad thing. I think that if somebody came in to interview with me and they were overdressed, I would say that they spent the time on it, and I appreciate that. So I hope that don't be afraid to miss the mark on the going above and beyond, because then that is the above and beyond. Unless, again, sorry, I'm in a weird state of mind. If you're wearing a tiara and gloves, that's overdressed, but I don't think you can be overdressed wearing a suit to a casual employer thing. This is a business meeting, so I find it would be hard to overdress for that. Great question, thank you. Any other while we're?
No, that was it.
Good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Again, please, if you have questions as we go through, throw them in there. Okay. Be friendly with everyone. Receptionists and admin assistants that you might consider are unimportant. Nobody is unimportant. We talk to everybody. So if you're calling in to you haven't received the link for your Zoom meeting and you're rude to the admin person on the phone, that is definitely going to get to the interviewers. Like, who was that person that just called? So you want to be polite to everybody. Everybody counts. Make observations when you go in. It's great for the small talk thing, and especially being on Zoom, you don't want to be creepy and like looking into everything. I'm really gonna have a cough fit here. Sorry. I probably practice this too much. But if you see things that they're really proud of, people will display things that they're really proud of unless they have a background. But as you're waiting in rooms or etc., sports memorabilia, maybe they're a big Vancouver Canucks fan, and so are you, and you can quote some stats. Hey, were you at the game, or what about season such and such? That kind of thing. It's the small talk that warms up before you get into the actual meeting. So, greetings. Greet your interview enthusiastically, passionately. Stand up, look your interview in the eye. I took out handshake, and smile. Good morning. Glad to meet you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview for this position today. That kind of thing. Look them in the eye and be sincere. People can tell when you're not sincere. Again, yeah, this is great. Yeah, I'm just on a break right now. Can we hurry this up? Comes across a little bit rude. Make sure you block off your time and that you're really present with your interviewing team or person. Okay. Be confident and professional. You prepared for this. So, and you deserve this position. You've worked hard, you've studied hard, you've researched hard, you've prepared hard. You can walk into this very confidently. Big smile, show your confidence, forceful voice. I mean, clear and strong, confident that you know what you're talking about. It doesn't have to be overpowering. Be aware of your posture. Okay, if you're sitting in a chair and kind of leaning off one side, or, you know, I like to sit on the edge of my seat, so I'm sitting up or forward in my seat so that my back is straight, and my shoulders are squared. So just be aware if you're sitting with your arms crossed, that creates a wall between you and the people across the table. It's kind of a protection thing. Come with your career portfolio. So you saw that lady, she had a portfolio with her. It is great to have as your tool and has information in it. So the things that you can put in your portfolio, you're going to take a copy of your resume and your cover letter. You're going to take your references with you. If they've asked for a transcript, take a copy of your transcript with you. You don't know if they've had problems with a printer and getting copies for everybody. I've gone into interviews where there was 4 people on the panel and a lot of the pages got duplicated, so we didn't have the last page or the cover letter or something. So if you go with an extra copy, oh, I have one here. It looks really ingenious that you're prepared to help them out. Samples of work, projects, accomplishments, if it's relevant to the job and the interview. Awards, scholarships, again, if it's relevant. Paper and pen. Another thing I always keep in my portfolio when I go into an interview is the questions that I'm going to ask. Okay. Coming up to that. Okay. Control the content. Interview stages. So going to go and break the ice. We talked about looking around for things to talk about, the small talk. Weather has been overused, so try not to use that one. Then you're going to get down to business, go through the interview part, you showing something that you know about that company, sharing the information, and sharing that you're prepared, and then closing, summarize, confirmed. Again, I've taken out handshake here because we're not doing handshakes right now, but if they reach in for the elbow bump, do the elbow bump, okay? Or if you're signing off because you're online. So, again, lots of information on a slide, breaking the rules. You're responding thoughtfully and logically. If they ask you a question, it's okay. You don't have to jump in with an answer right away. Take a minute to breathe. Maybe you need a sip of water to think about your question. And because you've prepared for this and you've got to pull this out of your brain a little bit to logically answer. So take the 5 seconds that you need to formulate what you want to say. You're going to give great examples that are bang on the topic, that are well rehearsed and concise. Please don't feel that you need to keep babbling on and on and on and on and on and on. Say your piece. And most often people are, again, in person or on Zoom, writing notes. And if they're good interviewers, they're telling you. There may be a black hole in between because we're writing. Some will type and you'll hear the clickety-clack, or some will be writing them out. Just wait patiently. You've said your piece. You don't want don't feel that you need to fill in the black hole. Okay. Be positive with all of your answers. So key. If you're negative about something or why you left another business because maybe something wasn't jiving. Again, I'm trying to be positive and not negative, but there's always positive or the flip side to everything, and that's what you want to impart to the employer. If you're that positive person, I'll tell you, and I think this wasn't on this slide, but one of the questions that I now ask in my interviews is, do you feel yourself to be a lucky person? Because it's not just a question that I throw out there to, fill a void. There is documented research out there that if you yourself feel like a lucky person, you will find more opportunities in your own personal life and in your job. So if I'm being positive or being lucky, that's going to come forward. And if I'm finding opportunities, that's going to be good for the employer. Words like just, I'm just a student, diminish what you're doing. Again, for me, it's a pet peeve, especially if somebody says, oh, I'm just a homemaker, or I'm just a mother. Are you, gosh, are you kidding? You're doing one of the important jobs. So be proud of what you're doing, wherever you're doing it, because it is taking you to the next step. This is what you need to learn right now to get you to that next step, to get you to the next step and get, to the stars, to the moon. Be proud. So try and take these words out of your vernacular. Okay, stay on track. I'm one of the hardest people that, oh, squirrel, squirrel. Try and stay on track, no squirrel moments, and watch your tone of voice. Okay, you want to be present. If you're getting frustrated, take a breath, sip of water, breathe, and just come right back into it. Okay. So at the end of the interview, it's your turn to ask questions. And if you don't ask any questions, the employer, again, it's another impression that, oh, well, they didn't take the time. They don't care about our company because they're not asking any questions, because we definitely didn't cover everything in our questions because we're finding out about them. So please ask questions, prepare the questions, and try and stay away from the questions that you would see on their website or within the job ad. You shouldn't ask about the duties because it's in the job ad. Okay, but you can ask about a typical day. You can ask about what the community is like at the work there. How will your responsibilities be measured? What opportunities are facing the organization in the future? Why do you like working for this company, or why did you apply to this company? Something that you can not push back, but ask the interviewers back, so you can get some kind of idea of the. I'm coming to community right now, but kind of the feel of the company and the department would be awesome. Okay. Please don't ask about salary or benefits or what the company can do for you. It's what you can do for the company. There at this point, this is going to shine the great light on you, how you are going to benefit them. Okay, because it's really not about you at this point. They have the company, they're trying to make money, they're trying to create a growing business and have numbers to do, and it's what you can do for them to get there. So please stay away from any of the questions that puts the focus on you. Okay. 4, follow-up, the ever important follow-up. Now, 5%, I'm going to do another slide. I'll go to that in a second. So when you go sit in the car, sit in the bus or whatever, and after the interview, go over your performance. Think about it. What did you do well? What didn't float so well? What were some difficult questions that you feel you don't answer, that you didn't answer well, or that you want to, because you have one more chance to follow up. What do you feel was weak, that, oh, I would have said this or told this story on that? And what were some of the reactions that you got from the interviewers? Will you drop that on your next interview and maybe bring up something else? So write any notes, just like say in the car, make notes on your Siri, make a note on your phone, etc., that you can reflect on a little bit. And then your work's not done. So 5% of candidates actually do a follow-up. And actually, I'm going to go more on that now. 5% only send a snail mail, but a lot of candidates will send an email to follow up. Thank you for your time. It's showing your interest and enthusiasm. Maybe you want to address that one point that you know was off and that you didn't answer clearly, and you want to readdress that. And it's, upon reflection, I realized that I missed the point on this. This is, what I would like to say instead of my answer about such and such. You can formulate it just a little bit better, but you want to respond to that question. So I will send a thank you email to each interviewer the same day. If you're getting home or going back to your office or whatever, send an email to each one. You've done your research, or if you have to phone the company to get their email, that's okay. And make sure you get the spelling correctly. Now, drum roll. This is my favorite. Send a follow-up thank you. I didn't bring the, the little, oh, I do have one. This one actually says Happy Easter, but it's a thank you card about this size that you can write and send snail mail to the decision maker, or there's usually one person that heads up, and you can list everybody's name in there, but go to the dollar store, get a case of 6, and buy some stamps and snail mail it so that it comes in that week later. There's usually, unless they're right at the end of the interviewing process, you have that time to send it out. It's going to have your information. I think I have it here. Take a snapshot of this. Dear Ms. or Mr. last name, thank you so much for your time in interviewing me for such and such position to fill the opening within such a department. My enthusiasm is greatly heightened as a result of our discussion, and I would like to reiterate my strong interest in the position and the possibility of working at blah, blah, blah company. Now you want to do a tie-in. It appears that my training and background are ideal for the position we discussed, as I am your unique selling point. Thank you very much for the interview and for your consideration. Okay, so I've thanked them for the time. I've nailed it back. I put in a key selling point that we talked about, and then sincerely name and phone number, because then people keep cards. Emails are nice, great, thank you very much. They sent that, I'm busy, delete. But if I have a card, I've seen it across KPU, that these cards are littered around offices. Even if they're put in a drawer, it's hard to throw them out. So I talked to one faculty member in Langley campus who she got a job after 2 years. This person brought out this thank you card with her name and number on it, and they phoned her by, can you fill out a vacancy? We've got had somebody call in sick. Can you come in? And by that, they saw her working style, and now she's employed. You never know. It's getting your name in front of them one more time. So I strongly suggest the actual thank you follow-up note. Okay, another couple of tips and tricks. Call the employer. So if you haven't heard back in that week to 10 days, feel free to reach out and talk to that key person, because you got their business card or their contact name, or send an email if that seems better as well, if you can't get a hold of them via phone. Ask about the position. Has it been filled yet? Sell your key strengths again, maybe the same strength that you talked about in the card or something, and just let them know you're still waiting to hear. And then again, I like to do a 3-month follow-up, because you have a 3-month window where there is a time probation period. Thank you, it's just coming to me right now. There's that probation period, and you don't know whether there's going to be a fit. And this has worked out for me in 2 occasions. Once was a grand opening of an employment center, and I walked in, cake cutting and ribbon cutting and et cetera, et cetera. I had no idea that one of the advisors wasn't jiving with the team. And while I was talking with the manager and I'm congratulating him, he pulls me to the side. He goes, are you working anywhere right now? I said, no. He goes, would you like to come in for an interview tomorrow? I said, absolutely, I would. And that was, the opening was Wednesday. The interview was Thursday. I started on the Monday. Okay. Another time I walked in again, employment center, a different employment center. They used to be on 1-year contracts. So I walked into an employment center, talked to the manager there, and said, you know what, I'm going to be working for you one day. She liked that attitude. Again, didn't know that there was the hidden job market, a job available within the center. She called me Friday for the interview on Monday, started work the following Monday. So you never know if you don't do that ask. Again, that was another webinar. But doing that 3-month checkup after the probation period might be a good thing. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the interview segment. Again, Michelle Tyson from the Career Development Center. Come to us. We have group drop-ins on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have virtual chats through our career connection, Mondays through Thursday, 1 to 4. And you can make career advising appointments through Advisor Connect. Sorry, Michaela's not there right now. That is one thing I forgot to update, but you can also email us at careers@kpu.ca, and there's our phone number. So now, and resume at kpu.ca. Is there anything else coming up? Questions?
We have a great question about the questions, do's and don'ts. When you said, do ask these questions or don't ask these questions.
Yes.
We have a question here that says, ask, what about asking if they have a learning budget so employees can upgrade skills?
Okay, actually, I'm just going to go back to so I can see you. Can you see me there? Okay. Very good question, as I formulate it in my, as long as it doesn't, I would formulate it so that, so it's not about you. Maybe you want to ask about professional development for the team. So how does your team stay up to date on current market trends within the industry? Do you offer training? Do you offer webinars? Do you have group meetings? And then you see how I've addressed it as not as a team benefit. So even if they don't, it's like, oh, maybe we should think about that. But it's not a spotlight on you. It's a spotlight on how does the team shine as a group. But excellent question. I like that.
Great, thank you, is what they said for
Good.
your response, Michelle.
Good. How else can I help today?
If there's any other questions, please put them in the comment section now, and I will be sure to read them out to Michelle. We do have one question here. Would you say right now that the job market is slow?
I think that the job market was slow going into the pandemic, and I definitely see more jobs, more interviews, more activity coming up as we are. I would say that we're comfortable with being within this pandemic right now. People are getting optimistic about the shots becoming more available, etc. So I definitely do see an upswing. And through the labor market information I've been receiving, there definitely is an upswing. I would be careful on the positions if it's a repetitive job that it could, and this is something that Chris Pereira said on our career day opening. If it's a job that you can do over and over and over again, you're going to be replaced by a computer or by a robot or something. So find something that is human emotional quotient, or it takes a human thought process to do. So that's the one thing that I would be careful of.
Thank you, Michelle. We have another question. For virtual interviews, what kind of background should you have? So maybe you want to recommend the style of background for a virtual interview.
Can I have fun? I love my backgrounds. This is something that I do very often. So you see my professional, I have a work KPU one right now. If you have, I'm going to slide through them because, and really I didn't plug this person. Usually you can find a background like this that is very generic or like this. Okay, that very, very, very plain and basic. I would stay away. I have lots of fun ones. Gosh, I would stay away from the Donald Duck ones. I would stay away from my Oops, I have to get this one. And the Scooby-Doo ones. Okay, but yeah, just a basic room. Sometimes it's nice to have a window behind you. But make sure you're facing a window as well, so you're getting that natural light upon you. So something very generic. Thank you for allowing me to jump into my fun bits there. Okay.
Thank you, Michelle. We have 2 more minutes. I just want to remind everyone that this webinar is recorded, that this recording will be available online later on our website. So if you joined a little bit later, that is totally a-okay, because you can watch the recording afterwards on your own time. So 1 minute left. Do we have any more questions? Please leave them in the comments section. If not, we're always here for you at careers@kpu.ca. I will leave the email in the comment section right now. kpu.ca. And yes, the recordings will be available at kpu.ca/careerday.
I'm going to go back to that last question about a background. If you wanted to create a background for yourself, so here's the one that we created for Career Day last week, and it's got my name. You can also you could also put your program on there. KPU graduate, such and such program, and a phone number or your LinkedIn address, and then with your name across it. I mean, if it's, you don't want to be too blaring on their face, but I would say if you want to be creative, especially if it's for a creative job, maybe there is some social media aspects to it, create your own background.
We have one more question. Sometimes the job has requirements that are not listed. Example, driver's license. How do you ask about something like that without seeming a little negative?
Okay. In my research and my preparation for looking at a job, I will, if there's not a large list of job requirements and duties, I may go back and do an archived job search. So I could put in the company name, the job position, and archived, and I'll get old job ads. But if they don't address if they don't ask for a driver's license, to take that one for example, then it's not required of me to have a driver's license. If it comes up at the interview, gosh, I would. Oh, I think if it came up at the interview that they needed somebody with a driver's license and I didn't have one, wow, that's really interesting. I didn't see that on the job ad. How is that incorporated? I might ask a couple of nice questions about, how that is needed for the position. Am I needed to travel to other campuses? If it's through the day, again, you have to ask some questions. If it's through the day traveling, like I might go to different campuses through KPU that I do need a car for, as well as a license. But then if you're delivering, if it's for, Lordco or something like that, where you're delivering, where that a driver's license is needed, then I might ask, is this a relevant job for you to be applying for if you need a license? So I would need some more feedback behind that question. And questions can always be posed in a positive view. So, and it's a question. You don't necessarily have to answer the question. So just would the candidate that you're looking for require a driver's license to fulfill this position better? Great to know. Just take note of it. Okay. And then you have to decide yourself whether you're close to getting your driver's license or is this something you're going to do really quickly. Okay. I hope I answered that one okay.
Hi, Michelle. So this is Michelle Suarez. I am taking over for Liana for now. I think
Okay.
we'll go for the last question from Addie, and then we'll wrap up the webinar. So Addie's question is, please suggest some resources on how to customize your resume targeting. Example, you have the skills and qualifications, but not the exact job title in your work history, which gets your resume ignored. So what can you say about that, Michelle?
Okay. Job titles are not always, and you can tell this from the National Occupational Classification, is that job titles are not always the same per industry. So if you were looking at, I'm just going to sort of read this as you. There was a glitch in the audio. Research on how to customize your resume for a specific job that you were targeting. You have the skills and qualifications, but not the exact. Okay, so hit your jobs like right before you go into your experience or your education. You're going to do your skills section, relevant skills section right at the top, and this is where you nail that 3 to 5 seconds before they've made a judgment on your resume. And fill that with your transferable skills, your education, what you've learned, the targeted skills, the platforms that you know, the hard skills, soft skills, everything up there. And those have to be specific to the job ad. So when I look at a job ad, I'm going to highlight my hard skills and my soft skills, write questions down. I know this is a fit and what I can do, and then answer that right at the top of your resume, because if you don't grab them in that first section at the top, you're going to lose them through the rest of that. So job titles are not important. Hit them with the skills right at the top. They want XYZ. I have studied XYZ over the last 4 years and have researched it. And I'm ready to get going with it. I wouldn't say that specifically, but get it right at the top in that skills section. I've been seeing lately functional resumes that have the skills section way at the bottom. Too far, like bottom of second page. I'm not going to get that far. I've already made a judgment call. Get your skills section, move it right to the top of your resume. Hope that, and if not, bring it into resume@kpu.ca and I'll take a look at it.
Perfect. I think that's the last question, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for spending your lunch hour with me. And if there's anything I can do in the future, please reach out. I am here to help you find employment. Have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone.